Everyone, my name is Andrea Beretta and I am a PhD student in cognitive science and in FBK. Right now, I'm doing a research about the decision process and how they could change in function of the choice of the path of study, the study in university. So I'm looking for computer scientists to help me in this short study that is more or less 10 minutes, in which I will ask you to fill some questionnaires and some opinions about two tasks of choice I will propose to you. And I will leave you a form if you would to participate, and you can leave email and I will contact you with more and better information, more precise and better information. If you would to help me, I'm really glad to see you in my lab. I'll do this research not in Rovereto, but I'm here in Visi, in Aula Cornisello, so it's comfortable for you to...
Just 2 floors above.
And thank you to anyone who decided to participate. I'm looking for only computer scientists who is native Italian speakers. So I'm sorry for the other guy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So if you have some spare 50, you will see how it's conducted, but without any spoilers. It's a study which really makes you feel in a lab, okay? So you see all the discussion which we made about the science in action, you see all the discussion which we made about decision theory, about this university career choice which he has explained, and it's very clear. It's a straightforward example and you see what we have learned in the class applied in a real scientific study context, okay? Thank you.
Thank you to you.
Do you want to stay for the class?
Yes,
Do you have time?
So, just quickly, 2 more things. First of all, next week on Monday, we will have a theater director coming here to present a initiative which he is making in Piedicastello. Okay, so it's downtown. On the 16th of December, he will make this huge representation in the city. It's going to be a theatrical show in Piedicastello, where he is employing some very novel, and we say artistically innovative techniques to make this representation. And he would like, if possible, to have some students give their perspective into this show. So he's going to be coming here presenting his initiative. He's a very flamboyant guy. I think you will appreciate how he really is. And for now, the idea which we are exploring and which we might want to involve you in is that of telling some of the stories behind the pieces of scientific literature which we study. Okay? So if you did we give them the Mann-Gulch paper? No. Okay. Well, so we will give you a paper. I think this week because it's relevant to what we're doing.
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Yeah. Which is about the Mann-Gulch disaster, and that is a situation in which there's a real story behind it, and this story is analyzed with all the techniques which we have discussed in the class: organizations, decision theory, and all of this. And in some way, the idea that Ivan, this director which will come next Monday, has is that we can maybe dig into these stories and explain how a student sees science in some way in a theater context. So that's something which might be interesting. Final thing, I want to ask of the collaboration of the note keepers, if you can come please later. So during the discussion of the battle, during the open engagement part of the battle, we would like to make this change. We will have people making questions from the class, okay, and then addressing them to one of the groups. The groups will address them directly in 45 seconds. We'll give you some pre-allotted space to discuss it. And the note keepers, maybe, like, we hook you up to a projector. You can write here the questions which are being meant, and you can kind of check box if they've been answered properly, or if they've been answered, or if they were kind of dodged away, okay? Because this was one point which was raised during the battle preparation, I think with you folks, and also with the 7th battle, is that how we handle question affects how we actually move on in the battle. So we would like to make this a more structured exercise, track the questions and see how it unfolds, okay? Do you think it's reasonable? Can you help us?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, maybe later. Can you also help us maybe later? Let's see if we can have you on both screens or something, but we'll figure it out. Okay, good. So who starts?
There.
You start. Okay, good. You're hooked up already? Is this?
So hi everybody. Today we are in a distant, not very distant future, 2019, and there is this. How is the name of this organization? ERC. European Research Center. Okay, sorry. So there is a challenge, and they have like a lot of money, and they want to invest this money in artificial intelligence. So there are two universities, two representatives. Like one basically represents weak artificial intelligence, one represents strong artificial intelligence. I don't know whether all of you know the difference. Like strong artificial intelligence, the one that can actually think as a human, and the weak is like basically Siri is a weak, and strong AI is, there are no examples for now. And both teams should present the plan of a research plan for the next 5 years in order to get this money and to invest this money in their project. I think that's it.
Okay, so in a
And they have like 3
so in
meter.
slightly more words. Okay.
Yeah.
The way we're setting this up is the following. We are saying that we are now in a hall where we are evaluating 2 projects for the ERC, the European Research Council. Okay, these are the people that fund research throughout Europe. They're still part of the Horizon 2020 program, so they are the same pool of money which goes into research and innovation, and they give an advanced grant. An advanced grant is a 3.5 million euros grant, which is assigned to a researcher, or to a group of researchers in this case, and this is so that they develop one project, okay? It's the end of the framework program, and they have one last grant, which they want to give on the field of artificial intelligence. And 2 teams from 2 universities, which we don't know what university they represent yet, because they will tell us later, will present their projects. One is going to be based on the concept of weak AI, which is that sort of AI which emulates human behavior and thinking without actually implementing it. So think machine learning, Siri, which effectively is an algorithm crunching a bunch of data and giving you an output without actually a decision process underneath, without cognitive, how can I say, cognitions. Is it called the awareness of itself being, okay? It's just an algorithm running. The other team will present the perspective of strong AI. Strong AI being HAL 9000, okay? The kind of AI which is self-aware, which has its own personality and which has its own thinking process, okay? And they will present this project, and they have to present us in mainly 3 terms. They have a pitch of their project, they have a vision which they want to achieve, either with respect to pure weak AI, correct?
Strong AI.
Strong AI, either to strong AI or to weak AI, and they will have to give us a research plan, okay? How they want to move towards this in the next 5 years. So they will say, for example, I want to make a survey, I want to make a preliminary study surveying people, or whatever, okay? And here, the ERC commission, which in this case is going to be me, Andrea, and Andrea, but also all of you, is going to vote for who should actually get this grant, okay? Is this clear? Questions? All right, good. So please.
I'm here to represent the SERAF research team, the University of Trento, and we come to you with a proposal for a project of strong AI. The field that we have chosen to address is the field of education, and in order to better understand the specific problem that we've chosen, let's think about a very basic scenario, which is being a university student, exactly like we are, having a bachelor in a scientific subject, and having to deal with all those problems which normally affect the students like us, such as the tough courses, the coordinating the previous knowledge due to the previous education with the whole new system of university, the lack of individual attention or motivation, and the difficulty in solving exercises and balancing one's own time. And let's also think about the fact that a student is not just a student, but it's also a human being, he's also a person, so he might have personal issues which are not directly related to education, such as family issues, social issues, psychological issues, which, for instance, might imply that for him it's hard to follow the lessons frontally as the way we are used to in a classroom of the university. This scenario is just meant to show how each student is different from each other. It's different from each other from many points of views, from the aspects that I mentioned before, but also in many other senses. And this is exactly the point for us, because the differences between the students, the individualization of the student, is a problem that a standard teacher cannot address. This is even just merely because in a classroom such as this one, for example, a teacher might have to deal with more than 100 students, even just for a single course, and be the teacher as great as he may, he cannot adapt and individualize the tasks according to each student's performance skills, and least of all to each student's personality and psychological profile. Of course, there are existing solutions to this problem. We can think, for example, of private tutors, which still we know not everybody can afford because they are expensive. Our student could go to tutor classes in addition to normal classes, but we know that this is still represents a problem because they are still based on a one-to-many relationship between one tutor or teacher and many students, and they are at fixed times and a fixed place. E-teacher is a solution which goes closer to our idea. E-teacher is a virtual study companion which has been developed and tested by a research team of the University of Buenos Aires, Argentina, which is based on machine learning and has the capability of adapting the tasks and the course of actions to each single student according to his performance and his skills. So, for example, his velocity in solving exercises, the marks that he got at the last exams, and so on. Still, we think that a teacher is missing something which in our idea is fundamental, which is the capability of adapting to the student under all those aspects which are not directly and univocally related to studying. And this is where our idea comes in, which we call the Seraph, which is a virtual companion that does most of what e-teacher already does, but has a crucial extra, which is the capability of adapting to the student, not just as a student, but as a person. So it would exploit the strong AI capabilities that it has in order to adapt to the student's personality, to the student's behavior, to the student's sensibility, to the student's history, and furthermore, it would be able to, unlike e-teacher, which is a tool which acts deterministically since it's based on machine learning, our tool would be able to adapt to the student and handle unforeseen and unexpected situations just like a human being would do, which is exactly the point of strong AI. Our tool would have the capability of empathizing with the student, so being not just a teacher who is paid in order to transmit notions, but it's also trying to get closer to the student also on a personal ground. We have thought of, now it's a bit hard to see, but we have thought of sketch of a business plan. In order to do this, we thought of, we plan to spread our research within a period of 5 years. In the first one of which we would just collect a team in a way that we thought it would be innovative, which is collecting pedagogists, psychologists, and even philosophers, in order to study and shape a method of data collection by surveying and interviewing both teachers tutors and students in order to provide a solid basis for our tool to start with, in addition to what, for example, eTeacher already does. So we would collect data for the first year, and we also would try to create a network of cooperation and co-working with a number of research labs and universities which are interested in the field of artificial intelligence. Then we would start developing a prototype during the central years, and with the help of this network that we plan to create. And finally, we would be testing in the last part of the fourth year and analyzing the results in the fifth year in order to evaluate our product and analyze the results and also think about the future. This is, for who's interested, a rough sketch of our economic plan, which I won't go in detail of. And finally, about the future, of course, the basic thing that we thought of is extending the capabilities of the potential of our tool also to other schools, previous schools such as high school, secondary school, primary school, and also to any other teaching and learning environment that you may think of. We believe strongly to be the innovative solution, the direction which is worth to follow in the future. I would like just to say that, to remind that our idea is not to replace or to fight in any way the current system of education. Our tool is meant to represent an addition and an increment, and to provide a tool to facilitate all the work, all the effort that the student has to do outside of the classroom. So this is it for our presentation. We hope for your support, and thank you for listening.
Hear me? So, thank you for being here today. We would like to present to you our project, which we called iHeart. So let me first briefly introduce ourselves. My name is Filippo, and along with my colleagues, we represent the leading team on applied AI research from the University of Edinburgh. We are one of the strongest groups in Europe, so this makes us an ideal candidate both for the reason why we're here today, so the advanced ground, and also to explain what applied AI or weak AI really is. So, with the definition of applied AI, we refer to an artificial intelligence, a machine intelligence, which is focused on solving a specific problem or a set of tasks. So, during the past decade and even more, there has been a lot of research and development for this kind of technologies, and many researchers all over the world have been working on different approaches to this technology, which have advanced considerably the state of the art. Also, many companies from Apple, Google, and so on have been working on projects which have shown what weak AI is able to achieve. For example, from personal assistants which can collaborate with us during daily tasks, to complex simulations that can beat any human at a specific game. So in this way, they demonstrated that the only weak part of this kind of technologies is actually in its name. So, as the previous group said, today is the deadline for the European Research Council advanced grant of 3.5 million euros. And I think our ideas are worth pursuing, so we will be making use in a great way of this amount of money. So this brings us to explaining our vision. And our main idea is to build an AI model which is able to help preventing and predicting heart-related diseases, from heart attacks to other kind of issues. And all of this will be done using AI. This is a very important problem because heart attacks are among the first causes of death all over the world, and they affect a large number of people. For this reason, also many researchers in the biomedical field have been working on new methodologies and technologies to help treating those diseases and to help diagnose them, and also different pathologies related to the heart. Indeed, our research will be using this previous work as foundation, and we will start building from there and make use of these new methodologies to tackle this problem from a completely new perspective. This is what makes our research really grounded on reality and a palatable project for the European Union. Moreover, our new research could help other researchers tackling similar problems related to disease treatment, but not related to heart treatment, in a completely new way using artificial intelligence. So we can better define our goals by splitting them based on the kind of prediction, on the period of the prediction of which our predictions will refer to. So the first one is a long-term prediction. And by this we mean that we will be able to build an AI model which will integrate alongside the guidelines used by doctors all over Europe, and it will be able to tell whether or not a person is prone to heart diseases years or many months in advance. Our second goal is to build an AI model, again, which will monitor in real time certain parameters of the body of a patient, and it will be able to warn him or her, or a crew of doctors about a possible upcoming heart attack. This will have a direct impact on people's lives because it will actually allow them to take precautions before the issue even happens. So we thought a lot about how we could reach these goals, and we came up with the following research plan over the next 5 years. So the first step will obviously be related to collecting data, as much data as possible related to certain parameters, and this data will be used both to inform the model for the long-term predictions and also for the model of the short-term predictions. This data will be collected by collaborating with hospitals all over Europe or national health associations, but it will not only be limited to that. After collecting this data, which will obviously be anonymized, so there will be no privacy drawbacks for the people involved, we will go on to train, develop, and test our model. This will be done by comparing its performances, the performances of its predictions, to the work done by doctors all over Europe, and continuously iterating to refine and again improve the results of this model. The last part will be focused on building partnerships with wearables vendors all over Europe in order to integrate this new approach, this model, with the sensors that are shipped and are being integrated nowadays in smartwatches, for example, or other kind of wearable devices. And this will bring this kind of research directly to the people, improving their quality of life. Yeah? So to summarize, heart diseases are a huge risk for all of us, and it's safe to say they affect a large number of people. So by using advances in biomedical research, we plan to develop an AI model which will ultimately have the scope of being integrated into devices used every day by the people. And this will improve the quality of life of all the people in Europe and maybe even beyond. So this concludes our team's presentation. We think our ideas are worth pursuing, so we surely hope we will be awarded the possibility to do so. Thank you.
Because, for example, they proposed an application for a strong AI. Do we have to consider the fact that at the moment there is no strong
So
AI.
the point, well, this is a good point, as in we have discussed it in the battle preparation, and we have said, well, of course, the feasibility is part of this scenario, right? So you propose a project, you're given a plan. This is, susceptible to being called into question. Okay?
I'm sorry, excuse me. Just note up something because the scenario is set up in 2019.
1-9, yeah, 2
Yeah.
years from now.
Yeah,
1 year and a half
so
from now.
actually something in 2 years can happen. I mean.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
think
Well,
so.
you will now argue, if the question comes up, you will now argue why you think it's enough or why you think it's not enough. Okay? Good. All right. So, any questions? Please.
Yes, thank you for the strong AI.
Yes.
So, from the presentation, I don't think it is very clear why a strong AI is a better alternative for teaching than the ones we have right now. So I didn't understand very well the advantages of having a strong AI as a teacher.
Okay. So the advantages of having a strong AI with respect to a weak AI. Do you want to answer right away, or do we collect some? What do you think?
Answer right
You can
away.
answer right away. Go for it.
Okay, it is just because, as he said in the presentation, we strongly believe that each person is different from the other. So this difference can be not computer predicted or just okay by a weak AI, because actually weak AI starts from machine learning. And machine learning, is able to do prediction, but actually not to learn the context, and that's the point. So we strongly believe that I can see. Okay, but we strongly believe that those differences are important in some fields like the educational one.
And have you ever tried to watch some tutorial and along the time it's boring? Could you think a device that understand if you are understanding the things, that could you understand your feeling when you when the device explain you the things? So this is strong AI.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
You have a
Yes.
counterpoint? Well, okay.
If I can-
Let's have
Yeah.
one counterpoint, one
Okay.
follow-up questions.
But how should a strong AI react, like if he sees, I don't know, that the person is, maybe not interested, or because I would like to know, I can understand how strong AI is better than like a video tutorial, but how should be better than a real teacher?
No, we don't claim it to be better than a real teacher.
Okay, so the topic was just...
The topic is when, as I said, the student is out of the classroom at his own study,
Okay.
doing exercises. Sometimes he can deal with it on his own, if he's good. Maybe he has some issues on that subject, which is why we maybe usually hire a teacher to assist us during studying, which I said as a counterpoint can be expensive. So we suggest a virtual companion which does it directly from a device such as the phone, but with the capabilities of a human being, which is the point of strong AI. But we don't claim it to be better than a human teacher.
Okay.
We never said that.
It's meant to be a tutor, not a teacher. Okay, perfect.
Fine. Thank you. Next questions.
So could I ask maybe a question to the other team?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. So okay, actually, I think you actually said that you are trying to collect data to predict earth attack or other kind of. Okay. You did the presentation wearing an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Actually, in 2017, okay, so Apple Watch.
Yeah, it's already a
wa-
thing, I know.
Was able to predict heart irregularity with a 97% of accuracy.
Yeah,
You
but
can
that
find
is detecting, so it's already happening. In our case, we are going to predict it way earlier than that, like a week or days, not when it's already happening. Because if you read carefully, the articles say that yeah they can, but they only like monitor the heartbeat. So obviously when you got the heart attack or other kind of.
I think that this kind of vision slightly depends. If you look at the article by Angela Chen, which is published on the Verge.
Yeah, I know. But as I say, in our version we will be able to predict it way before that.
Yeah.
And you know that first you know that you may be prone to have a heart attack or any other kind of heart disease, because we are with that innovation better because you know you can go checking out in the hospital, the nearest hospital, and
but if you go on machinelearning.apple.com, which is a website actually, you can find that article where they are talking about prediction and not actually just, I see that the heart is irregular and so.
I'm not getting your point.
So actually we are talking about prediction, machine learning prediction.
Yeah, there will be prediction.
But I mean, your project, we found tons of articles that implement the same things.
Do you know, like,
Yeah,
about
but
the
you
vital?
read the time too. It's the thing that I'm saying.
But it's the same. They say they can predict in weeks. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
In weeks,
In
the
weeks,
heart attack.
with of much like.
In years, and you predict in years.
Of much precision. Can you do that?
Okay.
Yeah,
no,
I mean it's still the same.
we are
So
going-
just
we are going
predicting
to-
also like in
The
weeks.
thing is, if you want me to explain it little bit better, that we are going to use new parameters that are not currently used in the prediction in the algorithm prediction that are currently used, because we will use 5 new kind of tests, which among these 5 tests there are blood sample test and an AKG test and a calcium scan to check not only for heart attacks, be careful, even for other types of heart disease.
So the
That's
ECG
right.
will only be a parameter.
Right now, the research for the algorithm is only using like if you smoke, if you don't, the diet that you follow, your age, your gender, and something like that. While we are trying to add these new parameters to the algorithms,
Yeah,
What's
and use
exactly-
machine learning to do that.
yeah, but you are talking about something that was the state of the art in 2017.
And
You're
No,
asking-
another.
there is not such a, because we checked that there was no
And
fast
sorry.
to use these kind of parameters, I'm saying.
Yeah, but in 2 years.
Because in 2017 there was not yet the possibility to do the 5th test that I mentioned before. It was just developed in the recent years, so you need time, I think, to train a machine. Right? So I don't think that in just 2 years we got these technologies with our algorithms.
Okay.
I think that 3.5 million is really too much for just this.
You think
On the
that
contrary,
you think that it's too
3.5
little instead.
million.
If
if you do a rapid Google research and you search for similar topics and similar research that have been done in 2006, 2007, the numbers were much higher.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean,
for a starting
five-
like in we are in the hundred of million. That
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
need
but
to
there wasn't TensorFlow, there wasn't
Hold on a second, because we're trying to get this more. You're starting to engage
yeah,
more
okay,
directly,
sorry.
which is
Yeah,
fine.
okay.
But otherwise, we said
Yeah.
we want to more quick questions and rebuttals.
Okay.
So we have one question here for sure, and we have one there. So shall we start from here, just
Yes.
with new voice, and then we go back there, okay? Sorry.
Is a question more for quick AI. The point is that after you develop this product, you content you must sell this product.
Yeah.
But in few years that you must develop this and finalize the product, the probability
Probability.
that other company make the same is really, really hard.
Actually,
Wait, so you come in the new market with a lot of competitors. The other way, they come in the new market without competitor. So if I am a founder, why I should prefer you instead of them?
So
Because I make only a really fast research.
yeah.
Intelligenza artificiale per infarto.
Yeah.
First topic on
It's an
Google.
attack, by the way.
First
but
topic
it's
on
okay.
Google, University of Nottingham make the same.
Yeah.
Machine learning.
So,
In fact, there is
So
a lot
why
of.
I do something that other makes easier,
Yeah.
then the
So
other cannot.
We get the point.
I think this is and you can put it like this. What is, and this is relevant both for you and for you, what is your sustainability plan? So
Okay, yeah.
you have some funding, once they run out, you sustain yourself or not.
Our idea is, as we say in our research plan, when we collect the data, we are going to co-create with the most famous hospital or data controllers. As you may know from the guarantor of personal data that is on from the 2018 that checks all the data for healthcare. We collaborate for them, especially for with the hospital, so that we kind of want to make a contract with them that will somehow bind us together, so that as long as our research is has a good ending, they will get profit from it, for it, and so they will already be using our work. Why should they go outside when they invested on us? That's one of the reasons why we want to stress on the point to use hospital to collect data, because that would bind us together and guarantee us that even if someone decide to and after in that case we will use the fact that the hospital is using our work, our application to keep on refining it at free cost, because they will have the data and they will use our technology, so we don't need to find someone else to do the work for us and pay money, and then we will pass selling our smart watch.
So you want to create a network effect?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the presentation, you showed that your system is also capable to empathize with the students. So I want to understand how your system plans to approach to this concept of empathizing with the students.
I mean, from technical point of view,
You know, how can you explain it?
The point with strong AI is that the strong AI simulates with reasonable accuracy a human being, unless weak AI. So you have to imagine a person who comes to your house and helps you studying. And as a person, it's not just telling you how to solve an exercise and so on. He's empathizing with you, that is making some maybe jokes with you, trying to use a language which is suitable for you, not only to use a person, but maybe is able to understand if the day you are bored, if the day you are happy, if the day you are willing to work or not, and adapt his language, his behavior to this. This is what we mean by empathizing, and this is the whole point of simulating a human being, because a human being can do that, and the classic weak AI machine can't. This is what we mean by empathizing. And we think that this is good for improving the performance in studying for the students.
I'm not sure if it's out of scope or not, but my question was, how do you plan to achieve this in your system? I don't know if it's...
To achieve some... sorry, Sue. How do you plan to achieve what?
Like, how do you plan to add this empathizing part in your system?
So,
It's
are you
included
talking
in
about
the
the technical parts? Okay, so it's a knowledge representation problem that we have to achieve in our research plan, of course, and this will be one of the first steps, because it is all about learning the content and the context. I mean, sorry, learning the context mean in some way use sensors and store information about the sensor in a meaningful way and stuff like that, and that's the way. So it is something that we have to achieve, and we managed to achieve it just by using tools.
Interacting with the student.
If
You want to understand a person better, you need to interact with the person, the emotions or whatever it is. So that can be achieved by something called as real-time learning. It is actually being implemented in some of the machines right now. So learning from that, we'll try to implement in our machine as well. Our system as well.
Okay, thanks. I have a question for the other thing. Imagine I am the person who is going to decide the money. I really want to know what is the novelty of your research, okay? If you say that the Apple Watch does it for 4 weeks and we extend it to 1 year, okay, you are a subgroup of the Apple Watch, let's say. If you say we have other parameters, again you are a subgroup of the previous feature. What is the novelty that you could convince one to allocate that budget for a novel research?
Our main goal is to the long-term prediction that we didn't say, but it should be around 7 years prediction.
Yeah,
that you are trying to get.
I'm going to have
I know that
next
that's
7
already.
years.
You know, it's not something that you already can do. That it's not something that even if it's a sub-branch, it's not. It's not something that is currently done.
No, my point is that if you say 7 years, then should I allocate my money to a person who goes for 7 years and 6 months? This is not an auction, you know?
No, you don't get my point. My application, my AI, will be able to tell if you, doing the check that you need to do, will be prone to have an heart attack or an heart disease, any kind of sickness, disease that you can get in the future, in the long future. So, for example, let's get the NASA. Let's say that you are
in long
someone
future is like, as you said, years.
7 years.
7 years.
So prediction or long prediction in their presentation.
Yes. No. I got that. Well, I want a sentence from you to tell me as the novelty of your approach. That's it.
Oh, the novelty. Okay, it's this kind of 5 tests that I talked about that are like were researched for the first time. There was a prototype of this research. So in the April of 2017, 2 years ago, more or less.
Yeah.
And still no one doing a machine learning project over that kind of parameters. We don't know if the result that we can get using those parameters, it said it should be way better and should guarantee us to predict in the long term. So if that's true, the novelty of our thing, the innovation of
the
our
novelty
thing
is long term with new parameters.
Is with the new parameters.
Uh-huh.
Because no one has ever used them for the machine learning. With machine learning to get a prediction on whether you will be prone to a disease or not.
Okay, thanks. Small. Wait, there is another
As part of the time schedule is quite short. We are talking about few years.
5 years. 5.
Yeah. So I think it's reasonable that they are talking about something which is not out of the blue, it's not out of thin air, it's something which people are working on and stuff. So they have some background. And from your team, I'm hearing a lot of tasks quite well defined that, in my mind, really resembles applied AI that they are presenting. I don't really get why you really need strong AI to do that. And my point is basically the observation I did before. How do you plan in developing a strong AI in 5 years? I mean, there is no way you can do that. There is no previous work. And about the representation issue of the context, I can put the context as an extra input to a standard, if you want, machine learning technique. And this is a parameter and it's able to process it.
So,
and I can do the data representation in the same way and feed it to the machine learning technique below.
deep neural network.
Yeah. So actually, there are some technical point that does not actually work, because if you model the context as an array of features, okay, and you put it in a machine learning system, it means that you are assuming that similar inputs, so similar context.
Well, there is one encoding that solves this issue and is used until 1980.
Okay, but what machine learning is actually mapping similar input to similar output.
Yeah, and
so
the issue is pre-processing the data into a feature space that.
Yeah. Okay, but are you really sure that the context does not change a lot over time? I mean,
what do you mean?
Well, you're trying to model something that is more human-like. So how can you think that to represent everything from a sort of input and give into this sort of black box and see what happens outside from there? It's not possible.
You don't have a black box that now you are calling strong AI, which you don't know really.
Our plan is just to try to, as a research project, is to find out a way to model and to find out using the teams that we are gonna form to understand how the person behaves and then try to make it more in a computable way. So it's not more like it's not it's not a how matter. It's more like a
but you
why.
are telling me something related to WikiAI.
Yeah, let's also keep in mind that the strong AI in our project is intended to apply mostly on the phase in which the machine actually interacts with the student. All that comes before, as we can call it training, we can call it previous shaping of our machine, is closer, as you say, to weak AI, because it has to start somewhere. The real application of strong AI is our machine is with the student, and by empathizing and interacting with the student, he adapts to it. The machine adapts to the student. That's where the real point of strong AI is.
You really think that starting from nothing, because right now there is nothing about consciousness of machines. We have no
actually,
machine at all.
it's not really true, because actually there is Professor Nielsen from Stanford University that state reinforced learning can be considered as a first step to strong AI.
Yeah, as a first step, but,
yeah, but
you know, strong AI, we are talking about something which people recognize as having consciousness, self-consciousness. It's quite complicated.
Yeah,
and in 5 years to reach this point and having an application for this.
I got it, but as long as it is a
really feasible.
Okay,
sorry.
Is it the feasibility in the scenario?
Yeah, I asked this as my first question.
But yeah, and why are you asking that again?
No, because my first question is about this in the scenario. Can I ask this question? And now I'm asking.
We are just 2 years in the future.
Is a question part of the scenario in the sense that you can question.
Okay.
I have a question.
Was it the scenario?
No. We mean that this is part of the battle. Discussing whether this is feasible or not is part of the battle. Okay.
According to Matt's question about the novel of our idea, actually enhancing something already existed or enhancing a plan, it's itself a novel, because in our case we are using more than one testing vector, okay. On the other side is we increase the level of predictions, and we increase the accuracy of our results. According to the Apple Watch, actually they have a percentage of accuracy. So in our research, we have to enhance the accuracy of our product. That means we can share the market well, according to his point. We can take the market from Apple and the other watches. But I finished my opinion on your question, but I will ask another. I'll ask a question for another team. How you can convince the people who are using Udemy, Khan Academy, something like that, which is already existed, which is called interactive learning or interactive educating, Okay, how you can convince a person who put 5 stars on 5 to use your idea?
Actually, it's simple because I can publish courses on Udemy, and I am no one can. I can publish a drawing course on Udemy, and I am not able to draw anything.
But according to your situation, you have to make some kind of interaction with the person who's getting your ideas or he is attending your course.
But the point is that
let me continue, please. And let's assume that you are going to publish your classes on Udemy. Okay, how can your system predict that I'm following your class and I'm not convinced with your ideas, or I'm not sure with your something that you present? How you can? This is the question.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, as long as it is a research project, because I guess that here the key point is the definition of research project. Actually, a research project goal is to find out something new, something brand new. Okay, no. And you are trying to show to have your project as a research project, and actually it is not a research project. So this is the
but
first
it's not answering the question. So
about this question,
ask questions.
Khan Academy and those platforms are, if I understood the question, in the case just correct me. Khan Academy, Udacity, Coursera, whatever, they are interactive in the meaning that you can submit your work and that can be evaluated, but that's the kind of interaction that we introduced at the beginning and that we want to augment. Because we want a real interaction, not that kind of interaction is deterministic and it doesn't at all justify a strong AI. While we want our student to feel that the machine is understanding him as a person, which is something which is completely out of the scope for Khan Academy or whatever. The interaction is there.
Okay,
what is your question?
Yeah, but actually in Khan Academy you can write some comments. I have something I didn't understand a part of your presentation or your ideas.
But can you
Then
handle
please
once the number?
help me to solve my problem. But according to your situation, which is a system that interacts real-time interaction, it must understand your emotions, it must understand your face, something like that. But your situation contains a very, very high level of uncertainty or inaccuracy.
Yeah, and that's
okay? It contains a very high level. So how you can solve this kind of thing? How you can convince the users of Udemy to convert from a very good environment to your environment?
Okay, perfect. We are offering something which is completely different from that.
No,
it's just you can compare.
It's education.
No, because if a person is trying to educate you, adapting to you, we deal with this 360-degree person being. Would you really compare it to a platform from which, at the very top scenario, from some part of the world, someone is answering a question that you typed on the keyboard? You think you can compare?
Okay. Thanks. Time. I think we can take a break now for 5 minutes, and then we recess for the next.
There are 2 questions according to my opinion. I don't know. If you remember the last question of Abdullah about how can you persuade people about your project, if that is reliable, considering the uncertainty of the context. But even though there's that question pending, there is another one belongs to Surbi. Probably it was misunderstood, but it's related to a word that is very important, which is empathy. Because it's very difficult to get something like that from a machine. So the question of Sue is, how do you plan to achieve empathy with the machine?
Okay, so there are still 2 open
And that is
questions.
pending, and the answer was in the was misunderstood.
Okay.
Give you the usual.
Before, yes, if you want to clarify on these 2 issues. No, let them.
let them answer before this.
The first point that was there somewhere, if the strong AI is a thing in 2 years from now.
Yeah, but let them answer on these two questions.
Okay, so if I can answer you, like the whole point of this is we have a like research project. So we are working like in an uncertain environment. So we are actually not 100% sure that we are going to reach this goal. This is our goal, and we need to reach it. We plan to like put maximum effort into it. We plan to collaborate with other institutions. That's like the whole point, the whole different point that nobody did before. Because there are like a research center, for example, in Aalto or like in Madrid University, but they don't collaborate together, so they work in different directions, and we want to work with them in collaboration. So if we have like people from different backgrounds, maybe we can be able to achieve this goal. We don't know. So that's the whole point of research project, because they are just proposing a business idea. Maybe it's not a bad business idea, but that's a business idea. We are proposing a research project, and that's like European Research Center, so that's the point.
Council. European Research
Council. Okay, sorry.
Okay, two points from here. First, I still don't get the answer how you plan to implement. You say you collaborate, but how? Like, I see you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, but how do you use all of this to actually achieve empathy? Because that's the only difference I see in the strong AI and the weak AI, that you guys implement empathy, but how do you implement empathy is still...
I would say we are not like the experts.
Just let me finish. The second, I would like to correct the definition of research, because research does not mean a novel idea or a new idea. It also means implementing newer ideas on the existing technology. And that's what they are proposing. So you cannot say theirs idea is just a business idea. There's also...
No, I didn't say it's just business idea. I said more of a business idea, and we just have...
I don't think it's applicable that way, because a research does not just mean starting from scratch a newer idea.
Yeah, we're also not starting from
It
scratch.
also means implementing newer ideas on an existing technology.
It's what we do.
No, but I think so. I agree with you, but you use the word new, okay, and there is nothing new over there.
How do you say they explain what was new in there?
It's a new parameter, but the idea is exactly the same. It's one more column in a table.
Yeah, agreed, whatever it is, but you cannot define that it's not a research, because whatever the new column they are going to add is a research. Anyways, my question was not on that. My question was, how do you plan to achieve empathy in your system?
Okay, can I tell the truth? Like, I think we are all here not like the experts on artificial intelligence. I'm sorry for that. So that is why I'm telling you we are going to collaborate with another universities, and I hope that they're like much better at this than we are. We can just like I don't know, give our background to them, and maybe they will achieve it. I don't know how. Maybe
Just to not go deeper in the technical part, you can think that collecting many people from different backgrounds, as a psychologist, as a pedagogist, as a sociologist, they can help us on collecting the data and see how students faces the problems, how the professors could try to resolve them, find the best of them, of these solutions, and then try to make them more computable parts. So that's where the technical part comes, and that's the limit that we can stop, and we can find, collaborating with other universities, if we can model it in a way that from then this machine can learn to empathize. So we are trying with this collaboration to build a model that can be inserted in a CPU, let's see in this sense, based on many outputs that comes from experts that are involved in this team, that analyze and know and can better explain the behaviors that happen while students face their problems and how the professors try to resolve them. So a student has this kind of problem, a professor would act like this. Why is motivated to do it like this? So how can we build something that can act the same way? And maybe you never know, maybe he's going to find something better from that, because being a super AI means that can understand new ways to that's the limit that weak AI is facing. The fact that being a program is focused on a specific task and can improve just incrementally on that task. You never know, maybe our super AI can apply those in that context too. finding out more problems. Maybe, I don't know, instead of telling you that you're gonna die in 7 years, it's gonna try to help you to face the problem in a different way, empathizing with you.
Okay,
Understand
so
why you are going to face that heart attack.
Put the dot on the. So the empathy is where the strong AI is needed. So the empathy word is the key. So you, before arrive to the empathy, you need to do the research on understand what is empathy and how you define it. So this is the
and then we're going to try to apply that. And that's what we showed in our tables, how we're going to allocate the resources and the work. And after that, in the end, we're going to collect them and do an analysis of the results to see what happened.
Okay.
And that's what they are missing, for example, a question that I would like to ask. How you're going to distribute your funds? That's nothing, it's too abstract.
I want also to answer to the other question listed by the one asked by Abdullah, which is apparently still pending, which is, I mean, the answer is we are not advertisers of a product. This needs to be made clear. We are researchers who are trying to make a research also to understand if there is this goal is achievable. We are still very far from the stage of convincing someone who is studying with Khan Academy to drop Khan Academy and stay with the virtual companion. But once the virtual companion ideally is there, I mean, it's clear that our student would find himself with completely different things in front of him. We computer scientists won't be there advertising that. That will probably be a task for whoever will be hopefully selling what we found. But convincing someone to drop another product in favor of ours is out of the scope here for us.
Okay, thanks. No, I think it's fine. I think it's a clear answer to your question. So let's have another question.
I want some clarification on SEAL.
Yes.
Is it a website? Is it a robot? Is it what? Because
it's a software
in your device.
Okay.
You can think as an interface. You could think something similar to Siri.
Because since you didn't mention it, I saw the figure of a robot, but okay. My other question is, how can you make this new technology viable at a lower price than a private, I don't know, professor or tutor or something? Because you mentioned in your presentation that taking a private tutor is expensive, but I think that this brand new technology that it's not still implemented, it's completely, I don't know, novel and innovative, can't have such low price for.
But again, this is a sale problem which will be faced once the product is there.
Yeah, but the thing is that if you have, I get it. But the thing is that the ERC whatever gives you $3 million for your project. You successfully develop.
It's not a product. It's like
research. Yeah.
So it's like a product.
You reach your goal. Okay.
About product. There is no.
No. Okay.
We don't get it in the end.
You reach your goal. Okay. Whatever it is, and at the end, the solution that you have to put on the market sometimes, maybe it's not your task, will be still more expensive than a private tutor.
The idea is to sell this software to the university, and the university give to you in a free way for
and do you
more service.
The thing is that there are some software licenses that goes, I don't know, €1,000 and whatever.
For example, Moodle is free for us because everybody here pay the tax.
But Moodle is just a very basic, very basic and very bad feature of our
But for example, one terabyte of Google Drive is not.
What's worth
For example, 1 terabyte of Google Drive is not. And
Yeah.
it costs a lot to the university and all of
Yeah, but exactly. Since a very basic feature given to all the students of a university is still very expensive. How can you expect a university that has to deal with, I don't know, other way of funding PhDs, researchers, whatever, professors, have the money to invest in your idea and to give it for free to their students?
I think that we are paying S3. Think that we are paying S3.
Yeah, but the thing is that if a very basic, in a simple, very simple logic, if you have a very basic thing that costs a lot, a very complex thing should cost even more.
I think I got the point, but just recall that for a university to be upper in ranks of universities means to have more grants, and means also that it can in some way be allowed to ask for students to pay more, okay, on contact.
Yeah. The problem is recursive because if you don't have that much money to pay for your tutor, you shouldn't have that much money to attend a very good university with this kind of feature. And also, you made a point about.
That it is in the United States. If you want to be in a good university, you have to pay.
Yeah, but if you have that much money, yeah, but if you have to make a loan to go to university, you don't mind taking a tutor for your problems in studying. And also, you are assessing that they just give some better prediction about your heart disease, but it's not just like that, because when you know where's the problem, you can tackle it, you can make something out of it. It's not just, I'm going to die in 3 years and whatever, I stay here crying in my bed. Because the problem is very true, it's very actual, because even, I don't know, doctors can't actually diagnose successfully some very, I don't know, even heart attacks. Even if it's very clear that there's an heart attack, some doctors can't assess it.
Okay, thanks. So you are saying that the difference is that they have a clear problem while they are more open.
It's not that the idea is just a 2% more accuracy on an already existing thing, and the other point is that they are developing a very good new idea, but the thing is that if the problem is standard tutor is too expensive, the idea should be better on this side. So
cheaper than standard tutor.
How can you know?
But the point is that it's out of the domain of the research, because the research is funded by the Research Council in order to experiment. We don't have the guarantee that in 2024 we will have the technology at a reasonable price. But we are trying to achieve the technology. Then, of course, as every technology that has been implemented so far, it needs time in order to be accessible from the market. But this can be included in our research now.
Yeah, but you have to count this. Okay. You have to count this in your.
But please recall also, just to note that, recall also that we are asking for the European grant, okay? But of course, it is possible to ask also for other grants, and so the price will also come slow with it. So.
Okay.
So just to understand why you, if it is expensive, you present it as a problem, being having a personal tutor, right?
No, it's not a problem. It's a good
having
point,
a personal tutor is not a problem.
It
has a drawback that it's expensive. It's not a problem of having a tutor, of course.
But having a tutor is expensive. It's you based on that.
Yeah, but this one is cheaper. I mean, once you have developed the tutor, the Seraph, you don't have to pay for every person that uses it. It's there. You just have to pay for the electricity.
The university should, your goal would be to sell at the university, right? So.
Okay.
No, sorry. Please continue.
No, if you want to continue answer to.
Oh yeah, I mean, but I think that the point was on the price, isn't it? On the cost, isn't it? did I get it right?
What I'm wondering,
I think that his point is why you define the problem based on the cost of the tutor. I think this is the main issue that they are trying to explain. So you present your research as something that could help solve the problem of tutor or cost of that kind of services.
Actually, I think that maybe you lost a part of the presentation. I think it was only an example, but actually the point of the problem is that that the tutor, the professor, and so on cannot provide you a personalized experience, and that's the point.
But he's saying once you have the private tutor.
No, but still, private tutor will never be like asking you about your family issues. So that's the difference. It's not only about money, but it's about being personal. For example, if you come to a teacher for, I don't know, for mathematics or something, you're not going to discuss your family issues with him. So, and this is
on
the
the
point.
context.
Neither with a robot. I mean,
No, why not?
Hold on.
And why not with the professor?
So can I just
I will never do this.
hold on? Since you spoke a lot now, and the other team also needs to speak up. Just to give you a point of reflection, while I think we give some space for the other team as well. I give you these two differences. We've been talking about empathy, okay? Why is this a case of empathy? So like asking for your family's issues, and it is not a case of contextual cues. So I see contextual cues, which means the small, slight subtleties that there are in the context of our interactions, such as now I've seen you making this expression, I say, okay, maybe she has a doubt, okay? But if I have an algorithm, either I integrate it to perceive any possible feature, in this sense, so it's a huge convolution or whatever, which doesn't sound too feasible, or it's something different, okay? Just open question for you, maybe. So, did you have any questions? Well, are there questions for this group so that they can start addressing it a bit more? What?
Can I submit a comment for
Can I suggest that you do not, because otherwise it's about strong AI only. So the weak AI part is been a bit lost in the last 20 minutes. So maybe can you keep it there, and once you get some question from your side, you can review today.
What about privacy and responsibility?
Thank you. I was waiting for this question.
Okay. If I can add something to this, aside of the privacy strictly. There is. Okay, what do you mean by responsibility actually?
If the diagnosis is wrong, we will pay for the wrong.
This is called liability. So, in the sense of liability, I actually want to follow up on this. So in the current situation, I might have something from a system such as yours saying, okay, in the next 2 days you have a 60% probability of having a heart attack. Okay?
Yeah.
I get this information. My serious question is, as a user, what do I do?
Actually, when we will get at that point, so verify our research plan, like we said, the client, the user, will have a smartwatch that will use new biometric sensors that already 2 years ago were in the prototype phase. So we will try, and after 5 years, so our research plan should already be out. We will implement them in the smartwatch, and the smartwatch will supervise, monitor the condition of the body of the user, and it will not tell the user about his condition because it will lead to a worse case of heart attack. You are going to get a heart attack like now. Obviously, we will not do that, but we might call an important person, a real world person of the client, or a near hospital that could go check an ambulance to his house or something like that. So,
however, the question of liability stays there. Have a question.
Well, all the data are anonymized.
Liability.
Liability.
So, I mean, if I just put in the situation 60%, I get it 60%.
That's part of technical side of our machine learning process. Yeah. We will try to only allow false positive and not false negative.
Okay,
so there will never be the case of someone dying for our misled prediction. But there may be the cases of people like going and do a checkup in the hospital because they might be prone to the. But anyway, the threshold will be set pretty high for the short-term prediction, while we will set it a little bit lower for the long-term prediction. Because as someone from the audience said before, if we know that the person is prone to an attack or a disease in general, we can we got the doctor, we got the current state of art, and we can try to prevent this attack or disease from manifesting.
Well, I think you just made no sense, because the thing is the following. No. In the act, if you want. I think you just make no sense, because if you're saying that you want nobody to be, you don't want to have false negatives, okay? Yeah. If I get a 1% probability of having a heart attack, you come and send a doctor to you.
You disturb a lot.
Because if you're saying you don't want to have false negatives, okay? Yeah. This means if I have a 1% chance of having a heart attack, you send a doctor to you.
Let's say very low percentage.
What is the percentage? If it is 1%, there is still the possibility I have a heart
yes,
attack.
it will be not zero, but not zero. But will be okay, so you want to say in which case who is liable to the fact?
I mean, what I'm saying is being very concrete. Okay, I have a 1%. Your system says I have a 1% probability of having a heart attack in the next 10 seconds.
What happens if we predict it
in the next 2 hours?
Let's put an example. You don't have our smartwatch with this AI. What happens if you got an attack?
Well, it happens that I call an ambulance and somebody.
Okay, but if you have anonymized data, how can you understand that I is the problem?
Well, we know the source. If
they are anonymized, you know that you don't know.
Oh, I see. No, this is another type of question.
No, you have the full data of the
So we are going to the privacy of the not liability.
But it's different, like the data is anonymized for training and for developing of the
No, wait, but because starting from
data is anonymized to build, develop, test, whatever the model, but then obviously the model that you will be running or that will be run for you on some kind of device that you own, whatever that may be, will know about you, but we will not know about your data because the model will already be there, and maybe in the future, I don't know, you can do like what Apple is doing with everybody likes Apple.
I don't think you should know about my data.
No, okay, that's fine. But that's not the point. Like, nobody will know about your data except during the training, but not about you. Okay? I'm not sure if
I no.
This case it was already taken care of because, as we may know, in May of 25th May of 2018, last year, a new regulation about the management of personal data, in this case healthcare data, was approved, and it entered in started to be used for all the organization. And what happens that it will be an government entity that is called data controller that will have the work to get the data that, like, with full visibility of the data, and we anonymize them, sharing then the data with all the other points.
So hold on, did you add this to the scenario just now?
No.
You said 2016 or 2018?
2018.
How are you gonna get the consent?
Okay, so you're saying okay, I was just wondering how this works.
It's happening. So
it is currently, as of the 28th of November, it is scheduled to kick in on the 25th of, okay, good, all right.
It's something that will be...
Okay, just wondering, that was all.
I did my research asking about a blog.
Just wondering, yeah.
Yes, but you need consent from people to do that.
Of course, but this
is how you manage so much data, so much consent, so from people to explain that. And what if they ask you to remove their data?
I mean,
because it's a right.
It will be not me that will do that, because as I said,
no, you as a data processor, you must. That's the new
will ask
GDPR
for data
regulation.
already processed and anonymized
What?
by the data controller. It will be not me to gather and anonymize the data. It will be the data controller.
No,
Because
he's
as I
the
said, there will be a new there was a new regulation in 25th May of
GDPR.
yeah.
Yeah. So who's the data controller in this case? You or not someone
No,
else?
it's not me. It's,
yes, but you as a data processor, you must provide compliance
it's an
with
entity
the
that does
GDPR.
that as a job. And yeah, as you say, there were a lot of campaign was done at the time to
Yes.
like open the mentality of the people to this problem and like saying yes, it's good, no, it's not. So yeah, a lot of people will decide if to sign it or not sign it because they have the right to. But I think that in all Europe we should be still getting enough data for our research.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, yeah, can I close about the threshold thing? Our research plan is divided into phases. The first phase is the long-term prediction. When the first model is trained, we will give the model to the hospitals, and the hospital we will use it on the patients that are already in the hospital. So there wouldn't be a risk of problems, even if there would be a first negative. The patient would be already in the hospital, so there will be no consequences. Once the testing phase is done, let's say 1 or 2 years, inside the hospital, which are chosen because we make a deal with them before, as we said, the threshold will be tuned so that, of course, the number of false negative will be minimized, but without risking to compromise health of the people. Plus, our prediction is not like in a day. It's anyway like 1 week. So if I tell you in 1 week you risk an heart attack, try to change this. For example, this value of your blood is not good. You can go have an analysis, and so yeah, it's really hard that our model would be directly responsible for an eventual death, because anyway the prediction will be with enough time in advance. If you decide to ignore it, okay, it's your problem anyway.
But
one question here.
One question about the familiarity of disease, because you gather anonymized data,
yeah.
And how will you link, for example, father and so on, because many diseases come by.
With the testing we are taking, we don't need that.
Yeah. The new part of this is also that the data that we gather are all personal. There's no need for.
But for a doctor in medicine in general, one of the main things to predict disease or some stuff is familiarity.
Yeah,
or
but
for example,
that's why our approach is new. And,
I mean, we don't want to substitute to the usual method. If the hospital want to use our application and then get a confirmation with the more traditional method, they can do that
okay,
too.
my question
And
was
once
just,
the button is in the hospital,
are
they
you
get
planning to use
confirmation.
this data
No.
because it will
This data is not.
improve your model?
No, in our model, no, it won't be improved because it's an all different approach. So no.
That's the novel thing. That
these are the
people are
first.
asking.
We need 5 parameters. The familiarity is not between them. So no, we don't need.
Perfect. I think a medicine student could argue so much on that.
It's from
It's from
thesis or a thesis.
Medicine students. So
What about your device predict heart attack and everything, okay, according to the past data, okay?
Yeah.
But what about the reasons of an heart attack are so much. You are saying 5, but what about the new kind of reasons that bring an heart attack. For example, smog brings us to have a lot of allergies, more than years ago. And if from 2 years, there is a new features that, I don't know, bring a heart attack, your software is useful.
I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah, no, I've got a question. You say, what about new elements that should add to the algorithm, right? As I was saying, the last point of our research would be to get the user, as many users as possible, to use the smartwatch so that we can take even analyze their body condition. So even blood samples. With the new biometric sensor, we can analyze blood sample without any invasive sensor, just from outside. With that, we can monitor and be on the lookout for new parameters, and in case that we need that, having been
okay. You use me for training.
We will still continue to refine our research, yes. And with the money that we make, because we decided to have a business plan rather than a research plan, we will have the money to continue keep improving our research. So if a parameters like that shows up,
in this time, I'm dying.
No, because the question that you should ask, without our AI, wouldn't you have died way faster than that?
Without their solution, you would be die faster than that?
No, it's the same. No.
Or would you
die?
Okay. So there is no possibility that you get your life back.
Yeah, there is no sense of using because you're going to die anyway.
Yeah, so there is the possibility there is the possibility that you might be safe and you get your life back if you use ours. A lot of percentage. Then there is the case if never discovered before, so there is no cure. Even if you go to the hospital, go the research that there is no cure. You will die equally. Just like we, with our AI, not only all the other people will be saved, and only you die. Sorry.
Okay.
But after your death, I'm really so sorry. We will be able to improve our AI and save the other person that will have your same symptoms.
Okay, since we're a little short on time, shall we just get the last two questions that we give you some few minutes to...
I didn't ask any question. Can I ask at least one?
Of course, yes. I think it's fair enough.
So I still have a question about data collecting. So you say there is some gathering of data. So how are you going to get this data? Why do you think they will give it to you? Are you going to pay?
Because we will use the money.
Okay, so this question. Okay.
Plus
the partnership with the hospital. The hospital will give us data, and in exchange they will have an preview of our technology.
Because the hospital, when you sign the
non-disclosure
agreement with the hospital, you may allow your hospital to manage your personal data. Yeah, it's something I already asked.
Okay, no. Okay, let's agree on that.
So
but let's
even hospital can be the data controller, like the thing that the entity that I said before that anonymize the data.
No.
So we will buy.
Let Tara finish the question.
Yeah, because that's what actually leading to another question. You didn't mention how you're actually going to spend this money because you're getting 3.5 million.
Yeah.
How are you going to spend it? You
So
didn't mention that.
as I was saying,
we need to gather the data to develop a model that.
But can you say the exact numbers? To gather money, you need that money because we did this.
You're asking 2.5 million to a council, and they have to choose whether to give it to you or to another group. Do you have a plan, an actual plan on how to spend this money, or you just have some ideas, numbers? Who you're going to pay?
At least
what are you going to buy?
All the machines that we need.
How much? Sorry, explain that.
Okay, so do you have a
a rough idea of how you allocate the money?
Are you going to employ someone?
Can we get just one last question?
Yes.
Then you have some time for the final statement.
Yes.
From the audience, especially if you somebody that never spoke up before.
There was a question still pending.
Sorry?
I think the question asked by Daniele and Andrea wasn't fully answered.
So there was still an open one, you're
What?
saying?
No.
There was still an open question.
Yes, two questions which are related and are still, I think, a little bit pending. But if you want,
was this an open question?
one about also the one you said about the empathy and the private tutor compared to.
Okay, so you have literally 40 seconds. Okay, I'm going to count them, and then we need
My only point is
to
that
wrap up.
it's true that we can't be sure that our product will be cheaper than a private tutor. Of course, part of our effort will be devoted to that. But let's keep in mind that the money issue is just one of the drawbacks of a private teacher. There's still the fact that a private teacher is a person who has a life and will come to your house sometimes when she's or he's available, while our product will be always available, always on your phone, tablet, and computer, and whenever you want or your phone. So this is one of the other drawbacks that we would cover with our product.
Yeah, but since I felt this wasn't clear.
So, no, you can't ask anything else because now it's 3 to 4. Sorry.
Our question or?
No, your final statement, if you want. So whoever has the final statement ready, do you have it already? Good? To go? Are you good to go with the final statement?
Yeah, we go.
As we said, they raise a lot of question about our research plan. It is a research plan. It's just that we plan on keep researching these things. So we decide to make a business plan about it. So we will gather money. We get more money than they will have because they will run out of money at some point. While we will have our own business model that will guarantee us like minimum budget always for all the years, now and in the future, hopefully. As I said, our final vision is not just to predict heart disease or heart attack, but to bring it a step further. Because once a lot of people, a lot of users use our smartwatch, so our technology, we will be able to extend and to change completely the way that this medicine is done right now, allowing for autonomous treatment. What I mean, everybody will be able to get his diagnosis, his personal doctor, let's say, that will help him not only in preventing this heart disease, but any other kind of disease. We leave the development of this other study to whoever wants to take them. We would really appreciate that because we think that our idea is really worth it.
So, as we think we made clear, our is an experimental and explorative research plan which aims to look at the future. Of course, as often happens with research, it has many question marks. Risk is a part of the game. Our goal as developers, as computer scientists, is to achieve a technological goal. How to sell it will, of course, be an issue. As every technology, if we will achieve it, it will take time before being globally accessible from the market. Still, we think that the strong AI is something which, if you trust us, will go farther than just implementing an existing solution with some parallel features, which is fair and for sure useful since we're talking about medicine. And we really hope to have at least inspire you a little bit with our ideas and with our business plan. Of course, we are aware of the question marks. These are implied by the strong AI field, and this is what we are here for. So that's it. Thank you.